Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about all the books that are coming out in November that I could find. And as always, I'm going to go by genre, so I'm going to leave the timestamps below to every genre so you can just click to the one you're interested in. And I'm also going to have all of the books linked in the description box so you can check them out. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm making these videos every month, so definitely check out my other videos, and if you like them, don't forget to subscribe. And I'm also going to leave my social media accounts and my Goodreads below so you can follow me there if you want. But yeah, let's jump right in. So let's start off with fiction, and we have Bitter Honey. It says 2 women, 4 decades, a lifetime of secrets. And what I like right off the bat is that it has 2 timelines. I love when a book has multiple timelines. So one timeline is in 1978 and the other one is in 2006. And what I also like about this is that the first timeline is set in Sweden, and then the second timeline I think is set in Africa. Next up we have Last Call at the Savoy. Set amongst the glittering backdrop of London's iconic Savoy Hotel, Cinnamon Scott is forced to confront her troubled past as she uncovers the story of the hotel's first female bartender who has been erased from the history books. And like a well-made cocktail, their intertwined stories pack just the right punch. So as we can tell by what I just read and the cover, this is going to be historical fiction. And it also sounds like this is going to be heavily focusing on bartending and making cocktails. I mean, you just heard from what I read. But you can also tell the cover here, the woman is holding, I think, a martini glass. But I like a good cocktail, so sign me up for that one. Then we have Palaver by Brian Washington. And here we have a man that is set to drink his night away with his friends at a gay bar, and he's having an affair with a married man, and his brother is homophobic. So it sounds like there's going to be a lot going on, and especially character development is my guess. Next we have Cursed Daughters, and this is written by the same author who wrote My Sister the Serial Killer, and I've read that, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, or maybe even longer than that. But I remember I liked it, and I just looked up, I gave it 3 stars, so I thought it was good, I would recommend it. And the blurb here says, a young woman must shake off a family curse and the widely held belief that she is the reincarnation of her dead cousin in this wickedly funny, brilliantly perceptive novel about love, female rivalry, and superstition from the author of the smash hit My Sister the Serial Killer. So yeah, if you like My Sister the Serial Killer, I would highly recommend you pick this up. Then we have Otherwise Engaged, and this sounds like it's gonna be like a rom-com. It says here, when Shannon gets engaged, her beloved mom Cindy is the first person she wants to tell, and the last. Cindy's engaged too and has already hinted at a double wedding. The image of a synchronized bouquet toss with her mom filled Shannon with horror. She'll keep her engagement a secret until Cindy's I-dos are done. Sounds like a pretty complicated mother-daughter relationship, but it's probably gonna have some funny moments as well. If you're into romance, I'm sure this is gonna be a good pick. Then we have Lucky Seed, and it says the billionaire son clan of Greater Los Angeles is your typical American family with power-struggling aunties, emasculated uncles, scheming cousins, scandalous secrets, and a fortune teller on retainer. But at the end of each combative day, the sons are chained together with golden handcuffs, whether they like it or not. So it sounds like this is giving Crazy Rich Asian vibes, so if you like that book, you might want to check this one out. Next we have The White Hot, and I've actually seen that a lot of my Instagram feed the last few days, and it's saying the story of a runaway mother's 10 days of freedom and the pain, desire, longing, and wonder we find on the messy road to enlightenment. And this is also written by a Pulitzer Prize winner. And from what I can tell, this is about a mother-daughter relationship. Then we have Snake Eater, and this has a lot of genres going on. It says fantasy, horror, adult fiction, urban fantasy, mystery, contemporary, paranormal, science fiction, fantasy, and magic. So it sounds like there's a lot going on here. A witty horror-tinged fantasy perfect for fans of Sylvia Moreno Garcia, Chuck Tingle, and Rachel Harrison. Then we have Next Time Will Be Our Turn. It says a grandmother tells her granddaughter about her twisty, often surprising journey to who she is now in this sweeping love story by USA Today bestselling author Jessie Q. Satanto. I hope I'm saying that right. And I'm starting to think we have a theme going on here with these November books, because we first had a few books that were talking about mother-daughter relationships. Now we have grandmother tells her granddaughter about her life, but I like it. Every time I read about intergenerational storylines and, you know, passing down their wisdom, I'm definitely interested. Next up, we have Honeymoon Phase, a marriage of convenience romantic comedy for fans of witty banter and friends to lovers tropes. And I'm sorry, but just seeing this little blurb here in bold that says, "Call me Lumberjack Luke," I don't know, but it just makes me chuckle. And I'm not sure if this is going to have a lot of spice in it. I mean, it is a romance book, and I've personally never read anything by Amy Dawes before or have heard about her books. So if you're concerned about the spice level, you should probably look that up before you pick it up. Then we have An Academic Affair, which is another enemies to lovers romance. From the masterly Jodie McAllister, a charming new romance about two English professors who embark on a fake relationship only to discover that it may be harder to pretend than they realized. And this is saying it's perfect for fans of Ali Hazelwood, Amy Jimenez, and Kayla Olson. And then we have another romance book called And Then There Was You, and it says down here by the genres that this has the friends to lovers trope. So if you're into that, you might want to pick this one up. And then we have The Bookshop Below, and this is a fantasy book. It says fantasy, magic, urban fantasy, romance. Doesn't really sound like my cup of tea, but if you're into those genres, then you should probably check this one out. Then we have a cozy mystery called Violet Thistlewade is Not a Villain Anymore. A powerful plant witch and grumpy alchemist must work together to save their quiet town from a magical plague in this debut cozy fantasy romance about starting over, redemption, and what it really means to be a good person. And lastly, for fiction, we have Second Chance Romance. And isn't that the same author who wrote that really popular book that's going around right now, If It Makes You Happy? I'm currently actually reading that one, but I feel like this is the same author. Let's check it out. Okay, no, this is written by Julie Olivia, and I guess my brain was just seeing Olivia and thought it's the same person, but it's not. Okay, and this is a grumpy sunshine romance. So lots of romance books this month. Then we have 3 young adult books. The first one is We Fell Apart, and this is the 3rd book in the We Were Liars series, and I haven't read We Were Liars yet. I know this has been made into a TV show on, I think, Amazon, and it sounds really good. I definitely want to read it and then watch the show. But yeah, if you've been reading the series, then I'm sure you already know that this is coming out. Then we have the same backward as forward, and I see here that it says The Inheritance Games 0, so I guess this is a prequel to the Inheritance Games. #1 New York Times bestselling author Jennifer Lynn Barnes delivers a star-crossed enemies to lovers tragic love story like no other. Read her side of the story, then flip the book over to experience their love anew through his eyes in this lushly designed deluxe novel that you can read backward or forward. Now that sounds super interesting and unique. Next time I'm at a bookstore, I'm definitely going to find this and see what exactly that looks like. And then we have I'll Find You Where the Timeline Ends. A teen descendant of a Japanese dragon god must team up with a cute rogue agent to subvert a corrupt time travel organization and find out the truth of what happened to her missing sister in acclaimed author Kylie Lee Baker's magical new YA romance, I'll Find You Where the Timeline Ends. So if you like YA and science fiction, then this sounds like the book for you. Now we're going to move on to my favorite section, thrillers. Also, I'm sorry if you can hear the background noise. There are multiple leaf blowers going on right now. I guess 'tis the season. So we're going to start off with The Predicament by William Boyd. This is #2 in the Gabriel Dax series. From the internationally best-selling author, a thrilling novel starring the travel writer turned reluctant spy Gabriel Dax, who finds himself implicated in a dangerous conspiracy with global consequences. Then we have a new book by Lee Child. This is actually written by Lee Child and Andrew Child. I don't know if that's Lee Child's son, most likely. This is called Exit Strategy and book 30 in the Jack Reacher series. Then we have The Perfect Hosts. A couple's gender reveal party turns deadly and everyone is a suspect in this gripping thriller from the New York Times bestselling author of The Overnight Guest. Is it a boy or a girl? They would die to know. And I like that Heather Gudenkauf is using gender reveal parties as a topic in her book because I know that it's a super polarizing topic. Some people love it. They love watching them on social media, participating in them in real life. And then other people really hate them and think they're unnecessary. So I am curious if there's going to be some social commentary on this one as well. Next up, we have a dark academia book with Friends Like These, and it has a quite low rating for Goodreads, 3.1. An unputdownable debut thriller for readers of the suspenseful novels of Julia Bartz and Ruth Ware. Then we have The Bridesmaid. The Kensingtons invite you to the society wedding of the decade. There's just one hitch. You might not make it out alive. Okay, these leaf blowers are getting really loud. If this was Germany, this would not be happening because today's Sunday. If you know, you know. But back to The Bridesmaid, this is saying when a celebrity bridesmaid is murdered weeks before an exclusive society wedding, forensic attorney Holly Stone is drafted as an unlikely undercover replacement. As she works to unpick the lives of the notoriously private Kensington family, glamour-averse Holly discovers a new worst enemy in Bridezilla Adriana. Heir to multi-million-dollar fortune, Adriana is set on throwing the event of the decade, and she won't let anything get in her way. As the wedding day gets closer, it's clear that one of the 5 handpicked bridesmaids has committed murder, and a destination wedding is a perfect place to strike again. This sounds super interesting to me. Then we have Her One Regret, and I have heard about this before. I feel like this is pitched as like a feminist thriller. Yes, it says it's a riveting feminist thriller that tackles an unspeakable taboo regretting motherhood. Then we have Where He Left Me. Okay, this has multiple things going on that I really like in thrillers. 1, it has an isolated setting, and 2, it is domestic suspense. College professor Sadie Sheridan and Felix Graham are on sabbatical at Hemlock House, located on a remote mountain homestead established years ago by Felix's family. When Felix leaves on a work trip but doesn't return, effectively stranding Sadie on the mountain, her world collapses. Sadie must face whether or not she ever knew the man she married, and is she fighting only for her own survival now or still for the man who promised her the stars. Then we have Nash Falls, when Walter Nash is recruited by the FBI to help bring down a global crime network. His life is turned completely upside down in this thriller from #1 New York Times bestselling author David Baldacci. Then we have Who Knows You by Heart, part social thriller, part modern love story. Who Knows You by Heart is a sly, witty, and endlessly discussable tale of big tech, new money, relationships, race, and discovering what's real in an age of artificial intelligence. And every time I hear a book is talking about artificial intelligence, I'm immediately interested, but at the same time also terrified because AI is creepy. Next book is Innocence Road. Detective Leanne Everhart swore she'd never go back to her hometown near Marfa, Texas, but she returns when her brother needs her, only to find a town in need too, still torn apart by a decades-old crime. And then we have False Witness, which should not be confused with False Witness by Karen Slaughter, which I really enjoyed. I actually posted a review about that, which I will link somewhere here. But this is a lawyer who was set up, imprisoned, and disbarred, only to be vindicated and reinstated, is determined to find out who set her up and covered their tracks with a trail of dead bodies. Then we have Return of the Spider by James Patterson, and this is number 34 in the Alex Cross series. Then we have Haven't Killed in Years. No one is supposed to know harmless office worker Gwen Tanner is the vanished daughter of serial killer Abel Haggerty. But a low profile and a new name aren't going to cut it when an obsessive new killer starts targeting her in this lively and propulsive thriller with a standout voice. And then we have The Burning Library. This is a dark academia book, and it says it's a tale of murder, obsession, and ruthless ambition set in remote St. Andrews, Scotland. Next up we have 59 Minutes, and I am super interested in this one. This is set in South England, and here the country receives a nuclear bomb alert, and the people only have 59 minutes before mass destruction. It sounds really fast-paced, and that's my jam. Then we have Best Offer Wins, and I've seen someone post about that on Instagram recently, and I knew I have to read it because I live in the Washington, D.C. area, and me and my husband bought a house last year in April, and it was hell. It was actual hell on earth. Now, in the end, it worked out. I'm sitting in our house now, but yeah, it was rough. And this is about a 37-year-old publicist who becomes completely obsessed with buying a house that hasn't hit the market yet. And it says, a little stalking, harmless. A bit of trespassing, necessary. As Margot infiltrates the homeowners' lives, her tactics grow increasingly unhinged, but just when she thinks she's won them over, she hits a snag in her plan. Undeterred, Margot will prove again and again that there's no boundary she won't cross to seize the dream life she's been chasing. So this sounds like it could be really, really fun. And like I said, I can definitely relate to this, so I can't wait to read this. Next, we're going to move on to dystopian books, and we have The Merge, which sounds like it could be a Black Mirror episode, because this is talking about there's a highly controversial procedure in which two people's consciousness can be combined to exist in one body. An exhilarating, immersive debut from an astonishing new voice, The Merge is a personal story of love, family, and sacrifice, as well as a thought-provoking examination of the limits of control, resistance, and freedom in our modern world. And then we have Lightbreakers, which is about time travel, and it's summarized as a heart-achingly moving novel. Lightbreakers plumbs the mysteries of human connection and explores how to love in a world where time is both a healer and a thief. And then I have one sci-fi book this month, which is Gemini, and this is written by the same author who wrote Apollo 13. Told with Jeffrey Kluger's signature cinematic storytelling and in-depth research and interviews, Gemini is an edge-of-your-seat narrative chronicling the history of the least appreciated and most groundbreaking space program in American history. Finally, Gemini's story will be told, and finally, we'll learn the truth of how we landed on the moon. And that will be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this. And if I missed any of the books that are coming out in November, definitely leave a comment below and let everyone know, because there's always a lot of releases coming out and I'm probably missing a few. But if you like this, definitely give me a thumbs up and also consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.